Have you ever had one of those days where nothing feels right, but you can't even explain why? You wake up, look at your phone, maybe scroll for a while, and somehow the day already feels heavy. Things that used to make you happy feel meaningless. Conversations feel exhausting. Even getting out of bed can feel like a huge effort. And the strange part is that from the outside, your life might look completely normal. You might have friends, a job, school, family. Yet inside, it feels like a thick fog has settled over your mind. If this sounds familiar, you're not alone. Millions of people experience this every single day. And what they're dealing with is something far more complex than just feeling sad. It's called depression. Depression is often misunderstood because people confuse it with temporary sadness. Everyone feels sad sometimes. You might feel down after a breakup, a bad exam result, or a stressful week at work. But depression is different. It's deeper, longer lasting, and it slowly begins to affect almost every part of a person's life. It can change the way you think, the way you feel, and even the way your body functions. Someone experiencing depression may feel persistent emptiness, low energy, difficulty concentrating, changes in sleep, loss of motivation, and a lack of interest in activities they once loved. Even simple tasks like replying to messages, taking a shower, or preparing a meal can feel overwhelming. What makes depression especially difficult is that many people suffering from it don't even realize what's happening at first. They might think they're just lazy, weak, or not trying hard enough. Society often reinforces this idea. People hear things like just think positive, or others have it worse, or you just need to push through it. But depression is not a lack of effort or a failure of character. It is a real mental health condition that affects the brain, emotions, and behavior in complex ways. Imagine someone who used to enjoy spending time with friends, laughing, and planning for the future. Slowly, they begin to withdraw. They cancel plans, messages stay unread. Their mind keeps telling them things like, "What's the point?" or "I'm just a burden to people." Over time, these thoughts start to feel like facts instead of just thoughts. This is one of the most powerful and dangerous aspects of depression. It changes the story you tell yourself about your own life. There are many reasons why depression can develop, and rarely is it caused by just one thing. Often, it is the result of several factors interacting over time. One important factor is environment. The surroundings we live in and the people we interact with every day can strongly influence our mental health. For example, someone living in a stressful household where there is constant conflict, criticism, or emotional neglect may slowly develop feelings of worthlessness or hopelessness. Similarly, a toxic work environment where someone feels undervalued, overworked, or constantly anxious can gradually drain their emotional energy. The people around us also play a powerful role. Humans are social creatures, and our brains are wired for connection. When someone experiences loneliness, rejection, or lack of support for a long period, the mind can start interpreting the world as unsafe or unwelcoming. Social isolation has become increasingly common in modern life. You might have hundreds of followers online but still feel deeply alone. Real emotional connection, where you feel seen, heard, and understood, is something many people are missing. Lifestyle habits also have a huge impact on mental health. Sleep is one of the biggest factors. When someone consistently sleeps poorly, their brain struggles to regulate mood, stress hormones, and emotional responses. Lack of sleep can make negative thoughts louder and more persistent. On the other hand, oversleeping can also be a symptom of depression, creating a cycle where the person feels tired and unmotivated throughout the day. Diet plays a role as well. The brain requires certain nutrients to produce chemicals that regulate mood, like serotonin and dopamine. Diets high in processed foods, sugar, and low nutritional value may contribute to mood instability and low energy. This doesn't mean food alone causes depression, but it can influence how resilient or vulnerable the brain is to stress. Another major factor in modern life is technology and constant digital stimulation. Social media can quietly shape the way people see themselves. When someone constantly compares their everyday life to carefully curated images of other people's perfect lives, it can create feelings of inadequacy.
A person might start believing they're falling behind or not good enough. Over time, this constant comparison can feed negative self talk and self doubt. Cultural and social pressures can also contribute. In many societies, there is a strong expectation to be successful, productive, confident, and constantly improving. While ambition can be positive, the pressure to always be performing can become exhausting. Students may feel intense pressure to achieve perfect grades. Professionals may feel trapped in careers that drain them emotionally. Many people feel like they're running on a treadmill they never chose to step on. Trauma and past experiences are another powerful influence. Emotional trauma, loss, abuse, or neglect, especially during childhood, can shape the brain's stress response system. Even years later, these experiences can affect how someone processes emotions and relationships. Sometimes, depression is the mind's way of responding to unresolved pain that has never been fully processed. Biology also plays a role. Genetics, brain chemistry, and hormonal changes can influence a person's vulnerability to depression. Some people may have a family history of mood disorders, which increases their risk. But even in those cases, environment and lifestyle still play a major role in whether those genetic tendencies become active. When all of these factors combined, stressful environments, loneliness, poor sleep, negative thinking patterns, unresolved trauma, and constant pressure, the mind can slowly shift into a state where hope feels distant and energy feels drained. The good news is that depression, even though it feels overwhelming, is not permanent. There are real steps that can help people gradually move toward healing. One of the most powerful steps is simply acknowledging what you're experiencing. Many people spend months or years trying to ignore their feelings, hoping they will disappear on their own. But recognizing that something is wrong and allowing yourself to talk about it is often the beginning of change. Sharing your feelings with a trusted friend, family member, or therapist can reduce the sense of isolation that depression creates. Another helpful step is focusing on very small, manageable actions rather than trying to fix everything at once. When someone is depressed, large goals can feel impossible, but small actions like stepping outside for a short walk, drinking water, or organizing a small part of your room can slowly rebuild a sense of control. These small wins signal to the brain that progress is possible. Movement and physical activity can also be surprisingly powerful. Even gentle exercise like walking, stretching, or light workouts can help the brain release chemicals that improve mood and reduce stress. It doesn't need to be intense or long. Consistency matters more than intensity. Improving sleep habits is another important step. Going to bed and waking up to consistent times, limiting screen time before sleep, and creating a relaxing nighttime routine can help stabilize the body's internal clock. When sleep improves, emotional resilience often improves as well. Limiting constant social media exposure can also help protect mental health. Taking breaks from endless scrolling allows the brain to rest and reduces the habit of comparing yourself to others. Instead, focusing on real-world experiences, conversations, hobbies, nature, or creative activities can help you reconnect with life outside the screen. Developing healthier thinking patterns is also an important part of recovery. Depression often creates a mental filter where the brain focuses only on negative information. A person may overlook positive moments or dismiss their achievements. Learning to gently question these automatic thoughts can make a difference. For example, when the mind says, "I'm a failure," it can help to pause and ask, "Is that completely true?" Over time, challenging these automatic thoughts can weaken their power. Professional help is also extremely valuable for many people. Therapists, counselors, and mental health professionals are trained to help individuals understand their emotions, identify patterns, and develop healthier coping strategies. In some cases, medication prescribed by a doctor may also help regulate brain chemistry while other forms of healing take place. It's also important to remember that healing rarely happens in a straight line. Some days will feel better, and other days might feel heavy again. Progress can be slow, but slow progress is still progress. Every step toward understanding your mind and caring for yourself matters. If you're watching this and you recognize some of these experiences in your own life, please remember that what you're feeling does not define your entire future. Depression may change how the world looks right now, but it doesn't mean the light is gone forever. Many people who once felt completely stuck eventually found ways to rebuild their lives, reconnect with others, and rediscover meaning. And if you know someone who might be struggling with depression, sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is simply be present. Listening without judgment, checking in with them, and reminding them they're not alone can make a huge difference. Mental health is something we all need to talk about more openly. The more we understand it, the easier it becomes for people to seek help without feeling ashamed. If this conversation resonated with you, you're not alone in these experiences. Feel free to share your thoughts or your story in the comments because your voice might help someone else feel less alone. And if you want to learn more about mental health, emotional resilience, and ways to care